Hey everybody, how's it going? This is going to be a long video, so you've been warned. But I wanted to go over real quick some advanced orders from Games Workshop before going over the main point of this video. So if you're a Space Wolf or a Tyranid fan and you don't know about this, check it out. There's kits for you guys up for advanced order. The Tyranids Effect / Turbogon kit, a Swarm Lord / Hive Tyrant kit with wings, so it's a full plastic Tyrant kit with all the options, which is about time. Then for the Space Wolves, we have the Thunderwolf Cavalry from Mercian Wolf Pack. Arjak Rockfist, which, because he's a special character, a named character, he should have his own model. Even if he kind of looks like a really ornate version of the Wolf Guard Terminator kit, I think because being a named character, he should be suitably ornate and have his own model. So there you go. A generic Wolf Lord and Thunderwolf. We got a Cyberwolf. You get some of the classic models now fine cast, including Bajorn. And then for Tyranids, we got Death Leaper, Old One Eye. We got the Biovore. We got the Red Terror, and Ripper Swarm Brood, as well as arm packs here, which is pretty cool. So check it out if you're a fan of either of these armies or play either of these armies. I like the fact that some stuff's being released. I'm not a Space Wolf fan. If you follow my channel long enough, you know this. But that being said, the Thunderwolf Cavalry, it's about time it got its own kit. I think being kind of a unique type of unit, that should have been available at launch with the Codex. Me personally, I think that. But it wasn't, so it's about time it's coming out. I still think it's a dumb unit. I still think it's really just silly. You know, riding to battle on a wolf. If they weren't wearing power armor, it'd be less silly to me. But the fact that they're in power armor makes it pretty silly to me. So I don't know. Same thing with the Mercian Wolf Pack. You know, they got tanks and weapons capable of melting tanks. Let's throw wolves at them. Doesn't make much sense to me. Another thing real quick, some of these kits for the Space Wolves have like little basing bits, let's see if I can find it, that are, no, he doesn't have it, that have, what's the word I'm looking for, there we go, Thousand Suns on them. Like the part of this base, this kit here, if it don't tell me I open up the 360. Yep, there we go. See a little Thousand Sun guy here, which is interesting. I've heard that the Thousand Suns kit is not available at the moment. I haven't double checked it, and I'm not going to at this moment. But maybe we'll get some fine cast Thousand Suns. I've always been a fan of them. You know, post Heresy. I have a pre-Heresy army, and it'd be cool to see them get more stuff aside from being base material for Space Wolves. But anyway, that's it for that. Forge World. This is the bulk of what I want to talk about. Forge World has released a Zone Mortalis tile set, as well as buying the tiles. Individually, you can get a Realm of Battle Zone Mortalis set here. Each one's a 1 foot by 1 foot tile, so this is a 2 foot by 2 foot square. If you're gonna buy just these kits, you're gonna need 2 sets to make a 4 by 4 table, and that's what I suggest playing on. But they're modular. They're completely modular, and that's great. It gives you a lot of variety. What this represents is fighting within the confines of a complex or a facility, or a spaceship even, like Blood on the Void. And it's pretty cool. It's Imperial themed, as you can tell by the look. But these are really cool. I think if you get the dimensions down, you can make your own tile set based on the dimensions of the hallways here. That way, the stuff you make can be modular and link up with stuff like this should you ever get it. Or you buy just one tile, like maybe this one in the corner here, to get different offshoots for hallways, and then you make your own tile sets with the same dimensions, so that way you can link it together with this stuff if you ever get around to it, or just make it for yourself, so you have a nice appropriately sized stuff here. To give you a sense of size, this is it with some Blood Angels and some Orcs. You can see it's very close quarters combat here. Kind of like Cities of Death, but only to the nth degree here. I like Cities of Death. I'm a big fan of the urban theme for combat, fighting in an urban setting. It makes more sense to me than having these guys in the future fighting over the plains of grass that I used to base my models on. But that still also makes some sense. But I just like the feel of it being in a more urban scenario. And this is just complete sci-fi here in this little setting. So I really like it, and the idea of close quarters combat I like. Now it's completely modular. You can see the floors are bare. What you can do is, I'll put it back, you can get the measurements for the hall, like I said, and then put some barricades on a base so it's modular, it's not stuck to the floor, and you can make this hallway now barricaded so it's difficult or dangerous terrain for infantry to get through, whatever it may be. Sandbags, razor wire, whatever. That way you can turn this to be modular and have the obstructions be modular as well to give you even more variety of gameplay. And I've seen people make great looking hallway style terrain like this with kit bashing, some bits left over from some vehicle kits, with making taking the terrain kits and turning them into hallways like this, and some plastic card and green stuff and a little bit of creative thinking. They make really cool looking stuff, and this is a nice addition to that, or to utilize as a groundwork for making your own stuff. There's a dreadnought up here. I see a dreadnought, I see a vehicle, more orcs, blood angels. Now it shows an ultramarine dreadnought here for scale as well. And we got minotaurs with their boarding stuff. Aside from the minotaurs, we see a lot of orcs and blood angels. Maybe this is for an Imperial armor book in the future. That'd be kind of cool. If it is, I'd like for it to be the Battle of Armageddon type of thing. I think this would fit in very well with that whole idea. Don't quote me, I'm just spitballing. I think that'd be pretty cool though. It could definitely fit in. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that this is out for, I believe, advanced order. I don't think it's for sale yet. Or maybe it is for sale. I don't remember. I know it's underneath new stuff, but I don't remember if it says if it's up for advanced order or not. It says buy now, so maybe it is already available to be bought. I don't know. But these are different corridors. Anyway, that's cool and all. But what's even cooler is rules for this. We have rules for playing Zone Mortalis given to us by Forge World. They're experimental rules, and as it will say right here, experimental rules. That's fine. I'm not going to go over the rules in depth here. There's no real need to just yet. But I will say that I'm excited about this stuff. I looked over the rules, not 100% from cover to cover, as it were, but I looked over it pretty thoroughly, especially in relation to how it differs from Blood in the Void. And aside from the obvious, it has a lot of Blood in the Void in here. It's basically they took Blood in the Void and then they amped it up. I mean, it not just space combat, but for planet-side missions as well. So you can do stuff inside a manufactorum, let's say inside an enemy base or installation. Represent kind of fighting through that. You can represent fighting underground, in a cavern or cave setup, or in an underground complex, or like a Tomb World necropolis underground, stuff like that. As well as doing void ships and space stations and things of that nature. So it has rules for doing both, which is very cool, because Blood in the Void only had rules for the Void, and if you wanted it to be planet side, you would have to modify the rules a little bit. Nothing hard, but the fact that now they have two distinct things set up is pretty cool. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out, and it's free to download, so I can cover Zone Mortalis in detail pretty easily, and you can follow along without having to purchase an Imperial armor book. So I plan to do that. I was making a Blood in the Void army slowly now. I kind of restarted that. It's no longer Angels of Fury as a side note. It's something completely different. I'm doing a test model for it as we speak. Well, not as we speak, because I'm not painting right now, but you get the point. And instead of calling it a Blood in the Void army, I might call it a Zone Mortalis army now. In fact, I think maybe I'll start doing that. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably flip between the two. But it's pretty cool. If boarding spaceships wasn't your idea of a good time, but you like the concept, well, now you have Zone Mortalis, which has stuff planet-side as well. What this thing lacks is, it's very general, so it doesn't have any stratagems, but you can very easily add some Cities of Death stratagems in there, maybe even some Blood in the Void stratagems as well if you wanted to, or make up your own stratagems to fit. Stratagems are pretty easy to add to a game, and this would be pretty easy to add too. So it's definitely worth downloading since it's free, and you can check it out. Maybe even try it yourself or make an army up for it. But I'll definitely be doing videos on this in the future. I'll go over Zone Mortalis in more detail in future videos, as well as maybe go over a bit of Blood in the Void and maybe the similarities and differences for the space ship combat of Zone Mortalis. Obviously, the planet-side stuff is going to be very different, but a lot of what they have for fighting in the void of space is pretty much Blood in the Void put into here, with a few little differences, and maybe I'll go over that in the future as well. This is also very generalistic, where Blood in the Void has some special stuff for the Space Marines, considering it's made with Space Marines in mind. Zone Mortalis is very generic, so every army is on basically an even playing ground in terms of that. I still have some ideas for generic, not so much generic stuff, but for some army-specific special stuff in terms of like Tau and the Pathfinders not needing Devilfish, stuff like that. Things to make the army more playable in a certain situation where it's very confined in terms of space, which this is. So yeah, it has more just in-depth rules in terms of dealing with blast weapons and things of that nature within the confines. It's just, I think it's Blood in the Void, but amped up a little bit with more rules, which is a good thing. It has more things covered, so there's less what-if moments when you encounter it. That's my first impression. I'm going to go over it in more detail. I'm going to do some more videos on it in the future. I just want to throw this out there because, well, you know, for Games Workshop specific stuff, if you're a Tyranid or a Space Wolf player, you got some models to look at now, and more importantly, the Realms of Battle Zone Mortalis. We have that coming out with some cool tiles that I hope are the beginning of multiple tile sets. I hope that this either does well enough, or they plan to just release expansions to this, more 1 foot by 1 foot tiles. Maybe making some room setups. That'd be kind of cool. Instead of having to make up your own rooms here, using these tiles, or making up your own tiles, if they introduce more stuff, that'd be kind of cool. But definitely, it's Imperial centric. So if you get the dimensions, you can make some cool looking Zone Mortalis stuff. Like you can do underground complex Zone Mortalis looking, kind of like subterranean cavernous wall setup. You can make a Tyranid hive ship setup, make it look very organic-y on the inside. An Eldar or a Tau setup. You can make a lot of different setups. But this one is your basic. This is your Imperial, because Imperial is always the stuff being fought over in 40k, because their buildings are the most abundant for the most part. And it's always Imperial stuff pretty much being invaded anyway. But I definitely have ideas in my head for making my own modular terrain with this setup in mind, as well as maybe making stuff that's not Imperial themed, maybe making some Xenos setup, or maybe, you know, things of that nature. Anyway, I'm rambling now. This is Zone Mortalis. It's pretty cool. I suggest checking it out if you're at all interested in Blood in the Void. This is like Blood in the Void, in that it has Blood in the Void in it for the most part, as well as rules for just doing battles in labyrinths and vaults that are planet-side. So, hopefully this made some sort of sense. I think I'm talking a bit loud, but my ears are a little clogged, so that's probably why I'm talking a bit loud. Anyway, not that it mattered, but that's it. So until next time, take it easy.